that China's unyielding support for Russia is creating heightened instability and insecurity for Europe, we can say that China is de facto enabling Russia's war economy, and we cannot accept this. And I've always said how China continues to interact with Putin's war will be a determining factor for EU-China relations going forward. If China claims to defend the international rules-based order, then it should unequivocally condemn Russia's gross violation of Ukraine's sovereignty, territorial integrity, and internationally recognized borders, and act accordingly. And if China claims to defend multilateralism, then it must respect the rules and principles of international trade anchored in the WTO.
This is my video update on this Tuesday afternoon, July the 8th, coming to you from Belgrade, Serbia. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with Trump and Netanyahu meeting at the White House, taking questions from reporters right before they were about to have dinner. And reporters asked Trump about Gaza. They asked Trump about the Hamas negotiations and a possible ceasefire. They asked Trump about Project Ukraine, about Iran. And Trump's answers were either non-answers, very vague responses to the reporters' questions, or he would just pass off the question to Netanyahu and let Netanyahu answer. So when he was asked about Gaza, for example, Trump just said, Netanyahu, you take this one. When he was asked about the possible ceasefire deal or negotiations going on with Hamas, Trump said, Netanyahu, you answer this one. When it was about Iran, Trump said, one second, what did Trump say? He said that he hoped that the U.S. would not strike Iran again. They want to work something out, he said. They're very different now than they were 2 weeks ago. A reporter asked him about a possible second conflict with Iran, or if the U.S. is going to strike Iran again, and that was his answer. They want to work something out. He didn't get into any details about that. The question about negotiations with Hamas, Trump claimed during the meeting with Netanyahu that Hamas want to meet and they want to have that ceasefire. But he did not share any additional details on preparations for a ceasefire. And when asked about a two-state solution with the Palestinians, Trump directed the question to Netanyahu, who repeated Israeli insistences that they would maintain a security guarantee over territories like the Gaza Strip. I think the Palestinians should have all the powers to govern themselves, but none of the powers to threaten us, Netanyahu said. And that means that certain powers like overall security will always remain in our hands. That's the response that Netanyahu gave to the question that was directed at Trump. And then Trump passed it on to Netanyahu, and that was his reply to reporters. By the way, I'm taking this from The Guardian, these quotes from Trump. It's in an article from The Guardian with the title, Netanyahu nominates Trump for Nobel Peace Prize at White House meeting. U.S. leader upbeat on Gaza ceasefire prospects, but does not share any additional details on preparations. He shared details about nothing, to be quite honest. There were no details given, but Netanyahu did say that he wrote a letter to nominate Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. That was announced during this press conference before they went to eat The Guardian is reporting at the beginning of the meeting, Netanyahu presented Trump with a letter that he said he had sent to a committee for the Nobel Peace Prize commending Trump's efforts to end conflicts in the Middle East. Quote, I want to express the appreciation and admiration not only of all Israelis, but of the Jewish people, Netanyahu said before presenting the letter. You deserve it, Netanyahu added. Coming from you in particular, this is very meaningful, Trump said. Coming from you in particular, addressing Netanyahu, who sent the letter to nominate Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize, this is very meaningful. This is the second nomination for Trump. Didn't Pakistan also nominate Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize? It's very important for Trump to win that Nobel Peace Prize, it seems. It seems that Trump, more than anything else when it comes to foreign policy, he wants that Nobel Peace Prize. He even has Netanyahu nominating him for the Nobel Peace Prize. Coming from you in particular, this is very meaningful, Trump said. What else? On Project Ukraine, Trump was asked about Russia's war in Ukraine. Trump suggested that he would resume weapons shipments to the Ukrainian army, although the White House had recently confirmed it had halted some weapons deliveries due to a Pentagon review of dwindling U.S. munitions stocks. In impromptu remarks, Trump said he was not happy with President Putin at all, and I'm disappointed, frankly, that President Putin hasn't stopped. He said, I'm not happy about it. We're going to send some more weapons to Ukraine. He continued, we have to. They have to be able to defend themselves. They're getting hit very hard. They're getting hit very hard. We're going to have to send more weapons. That was his reply. No details or specifics as to what they're thinking of sending. But Trump is now saying that they're going to send more weapons. Keep in mind that weapons deliveries to Ukraine have not really stopped. They haven't stopped. Some weapons deliveries have been paused to the shock of the Zelensky regime and NATO and the Europeans. The Patriot systems. What else? Artillery. Stingers, stuff like that. That has been paused, but all the other weapons from the Biden drawdown package have not really been stopped. And of course, you still have all of the intel sharing and all of that is still taking place. Absolutely, that hasn't stopped at all. All the support and the intelligence sharing and all of the satellite stuff that the United States gives to Ukraine. So that was Trump's answer to the question that he got about Ukraine. And Axios actually has a very interesting article. Let's walk down this way. They put out an interesting article where they talk about, according to their anonymous sources who have knowledge on the matter, those anonymous sources, those anonymous officials. Axios is saying that what the Trump White House is trying to put together for Project Ukraine is that they're trying to send Project Ukraine 10 Patriot interceptors. That's what they're trying to put together. And they're trying to get Germany to hand over a full Patriot system to Project Ukraine. But Germany is complaining to the Trump White House, saying that Germany has pretty much been demilitarized. They've given over everything to Project Ukraine, and the United States should give more of its weapons to Project Ukraine. That was Germany's answer, according to this Axios report. Let me read you what Axios is saying here. So the title from Axios is Inside Trump's Patriot Missile Plans for Ukraine. At President Trump's direction, the Department of Defense will send additional defensive weapons to Ukraine to ensure the Ukrainians can defend themselves while we work to secure a lasting peace, the Pentagon said on later Monday night. Still, Trump and his team are reluctant to part with many Patriot interceptors. He wants the Europeans to send more of their own money and material as well. Two sources said Trump promised to immediately send 10 Patriot interceptors, fewer than had been planned in the paused shipment, and help to find other means of supply. That's what he's promising. 10 Patriot interceptors, fewer than what they were going to send to Ukraine in the paused shipment. They just don't have them, man. They just don't have the Patriots. But Trump is getting a lot of pressure to give over what they don't have, to give it over to the Zelensky regime. He is getting a lot of pressure.
And her partner.
What else is Axios saying? For his part, Trump suggested Germany sell one of its Patriot batteries to Ukraine, according to three sources familiar with the discussion, the sources that are familiar with the matter. Familiar with this discussion, they said the U.S. and European allies would split the cost of the purchase. Trump and Merz didn't reach an agreement, but officials say the discussion is ongoing. German officials contend Germany has given a very high percentage of its Patriots to Ukraine, even more than the U.S. in relative terms. It was raining all day today, raining really hard in Belgrade, and now it's getting hot, man. So what's the big picture according to Axios? The big picture, with stocks dwindling amid multiple ongoing wars, there's increasing concern among NATO countries about giving up munitions, particularly interceptors, more quickly than they can be produced. Getting a Patriot missile isn't like going to Walmart and picking 10 off the shelf and going home, one Trump advisor told Axios. What's next? Zelensky and his aides will meet in Rome later this week with Trump's envoy, Keith Kellogg. They hope to get more clarity on the future of U.S. weapons shipments. Meeting with Keith Kellogg. That's a good idea, Trump. That's a real good idea. Get Kellogg involved. He'll figure things out. Keith Kellogg will figure it all out. Oh, man. Basically, this article from Axios is another admission that the United States is out of weapons, man. Maybe they put together 10 interceptors, but you can tell from this Axios article that they just don't have that many to give. It's a big ask. It's a big ask to give the 10 interceptors, and Russia's just going to destroy these systems. They're going to hunt them down. They're going to destroy them, and then what? Another 10? Do you even have another 10? Doesn't sound like it. And you know what else you get from this article? That Germany doesn't have any weapons. Germany doesn't have anything. Germany's plan is we'll buy the weapons, United States, and we'll sell them. Well, actually, that's Trump's plan. Germany buys the weapons and sells it to Ukraine. I think Germany's plan is we'll buy the weapons and we'll give it to Ukraine. I think that's the difference. The Trump administration, according to these Axios sources, is saying buy the weapons and sell it to Ukraine, while Germany is saying we'll buy the weapons and we want to give it to Ukraine. I don't know. What a mess. What a freaking mess. The United States of America, man. Germany demilitarized by Project Ukraine. Incredible. So let's move on. And what's next on the agenda? Tariffs. That's what's next. The Trump White House sent their tariff letters to a whole bunch of countries, to a ton of countries. And the tariff letter said, we have decided to move forward with you, but only with more balanced and fair trade. We invite you, this is coming from Trump, we invite you to participate in the extraordinary economy of the United States, the number one market in the world by far. And some countries got 10% tariffs. Some countries got 25% tariffs. Some other countries, from what I read, got hit with 35% tariffs. I believe Japan and South Korea, they got hit with 25% tariffs. Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Tunisia, they got hit with 25% tariffs. Higher rates will apply to imports from South Africa and Bosnia, 30%. Indonesia, 32%. Serbia and Bangladesh, 35%. Thailand and Cambodia, 36%. And Vietnam, Laos, and Myanmar, 40%. But it's a nice letter, huh? We invite you to participate in the extraordinary economy of the United States, the #1 market in the world by far. 35% tariffs for you, right? We're inviting you. We're inviting you with a 35% tariff. Oh boy, Dmitry Medvedev, he posted on X, BRICS is gaining authority. Trump announced that an additional 10% tariff would be imposed on any country that supports BRICS policy. So we're doing everything right. That is what Medvedev posted on X. The Trump White House also removed HTS, al-Nusra, from the terrorist list. They're no longer terrorists. U.S. to revoke terrorist designation of Syrian group HTS. The move comes in conjunction with President Donald Trump's June order to lift sanctions on Syria to support the country's path to stability and peace. Tomorrow's action follows the announced dissolution of HTS and the Syrian government's commitment to combat terrorism in all its forms, Marco Rubio said in a statement. You see, promises made, promises kept. HTS is off the terrorist list. Because HTS is, according to Rubio, they've made a commitment. They have made a commitment to combat terrorism in all its forms. Not to commit terrorism anymore, forgetting about the terrorism that they committed against Christians and Alawites just a month or two ago. Let's just forget about that. We don't want to talk about that, Marco Rubio, do we? No, we don't. Now they're promising, and their promise is absolutely solid, right? Their word is their bond. Al-Jawlani's word is his bond, right? He's promising now to combat terrorism. So we're going to lift the terrorist designation on HTS al-Nusra from disclosed.tv. U.S. State Department officially removes al-Nusra Front from its list of foreign terrorist organizations. Al-Nusra Front's leader, a formerly open al-Qaeda affiliate, is now the president of Syria. The group's aim was to overthrow Assad and establish an Islamic state ruled by Sharia law in Syria. All right. Al-Nusra Front's leader, a formerly open al-Qaeda affiliate, is now the president of Syria. And they want Sharia law in Syria. Let's lift that terrorist designation. Donald J. Trump. And let's place 10% tariffs. Is he placing tariffs on Syria? Or is he even going to let the tariffs slide when it comes to al-Jawlani? Al-Jawlani is getting an exception because he's renouncing terrorism. Now he's going to fight terrorism. If you don't laugh, you cry. So what's going on with Project Ukraine? It looks like we have a big significant cauldron forming in the Kupyansk direction from Henry Jose, The Opinion. Kupyansk cauldron brewing. Russian forces sever Ukrainian supply lines in Kharkiv. Russian units are reportedly severing key AFU supply routes near Kupyansk, threatening to encircle Ukrainian forces entrenched in the region. According to Russian official Vitaly Ganchev, the situation is critical for Ukrainian troops. Moscow is executing a slow envelopment, leveraging superior artillery and control over logistical choke points. With each day, Kiev's ability to reinforce or extract its forces diminishes. Kupyansk risks becoming the next meat grinder, and Ukraine's command knows it. Are we getting posts now on X saying that Kupyansk is not a significant region? Are we getting those posts now? Kupyansk is not important. So what if it's encircled? Not an important area. Not a big deal. Ukraine's secret wish list of German arms, according to the German publication Bild. Zelensky even has a wish list. In an article, let me guess, money and weapons, weapons and money. This is his weapons wish list. Okay, his weapons wish list for Germany. In an article on Sunday, Bild claimed that the list is divided into 3 categories: air defense, armored vehicles, and electronic warfare. According to the tabloid, the requested weapons are worth billions of euros, though it is not clear at this point whether Berlin will fulfill Kiev's supposed wish list. He has a wish list. Green Goblin. Chancellor Merz, here's my wish list. Mr. Merz, here's my wish list for weapons. I make it easy for you. I divide in 3 categories. Actually, Podolyak, he divide in 3 categories. Now give me weapons and maybe give me some money. Anyway, we have the big Ursula no confidence debate that took place. And what an S show this was. What a freaking S show this debate was in the European Parliament. The no confidence vote connected to Ursula's handling of the jabs and the vaccines and her text messaging with Burla, the chief of Pfizer. The text messages that have just disappeared, man. Disappeared. Like the client list. Just disappeared. And there's a no confidence vote that she'll get through this. But this is doing her a lot of damage. And she actually showed up. I think she's required to show up. She showed up, and Ursula von der Maff, she presented her case. And yeah, the speeches were pretty incredible at this parliament session. A whole lot of blaming Russia. A whole lot of Ursula was blaming Russia for everything that's happening, for this no confidence vote. She's saying that you guys are playing right into Putin's hands, and the people that were the parliament members that were holding this no confidence vote and were upset with Ursula. They were saying that Ursula is making the EU into the next Soviet Union. So whichever direction you take, it's Russia. Russia or the Soviet Union. You decide. Which one is it? We want Ursula out because she's turning us into the Soviet Union, or Ursula is saying you guys are playing into Russia's hands.
Madam President of the European Parliament, Madam President of the Commission, dear commissioners, dear colleagues. With this motion of censure, we are wasting time. Putin will like it, what his friends are doing here.
So today, we can all make our own judgments about the merits of the motion in front of us, and each of us can come to our own conclusions about its real intentions. But what we have just heard from Mr. Piperia was clear for all to see. It is taken right from the oldest playbook of extremists. Polarizing society, eroding trust in democracy, with false claims about election meddling, attempting to rewrite the history.
Anyway, Ursula finally defends herself over Pfizer-gate. The implication that these contracts were somehow inappropriate against the European interests is, by any measure, simply wrong, van der Leyen says. While the Commission had argued that the texts were too boring to warrant being released, the case became a flashpoint for transparency activists and right-wing groups. They argue that it demonstrated von der Leyen's Commission was a particularly unaccountable one. Did you guys get that from Politico? The Commission argued that the texts were too boring to be revealed. the text messages that she was exchanging for a multi-billion dollar contract with Burla. I think 35 billion or 45 billion, a crazy amount. These text messages, just boring, man. Just boring. And they've disappeared, like the client list. Yeah, that's why she's not revealing the text messages, or that's why she can't find the text messages, because they're just boring, man. You guys want to read about my text messaging with the head chief of a big pharma company talking about 45 or 55 or 35 billion dollar contracts? It's just boring stuff. Let's talk about Putin. Let's talk about Project Ukraine, the rules-based international order. That's exciting stuff, according to Ursula. Oh man, what else? What else is Politico saying? There were no. Oh, this is coming from. This is coming from Ursula. There were no secrets, no hidden clauses, no obligation to buy for member states. She told lawmakers that all 27 member states decided to buy jabs on their own will. So any claims that any member state did not know about the contracts, about the prices, or the amounts is dishonest. In fact, let's call it by its name. It is simply a lie. Von der Leyen also accused those who have criticized the Commission about the text messages of spinning debunked conspiracies. Ah, yes, it's just all a conspiracy theory. It's all a conspiracy theory. Then show the text messages, man. Find the text messages and give them over. Give them up. If it's a conspiracy theory, let's see what you and Mr. Burla were talking about. If it's just a conspiracy theory, it's just all a conspiracy theory. Let's see it. Anyway, you know when a leader, a globalist leader, brings out the conspiracy theory card, when they play that card, yeah, you know that they're trying to hide something pretty damning. When they say it's all a conspiracy theory, when they say it's a conspiracy theory, it pretty much means that the conspiracy theorists are spot on, right? So that's Ursula, her no confidence vote. In some other news, Tucker had his interview with Pezeshkian, the Iranian leader. A good interview. I'll say this about Pezeshkian: the guy's talking a lot about peace and harmony and tranquility. He used those words a lot in the Tucker Carlson interview. The guy's a peace liberal type of, like a traditional liberal, which, you know, those traditional liberals, you don't see them in collective West governments anymore. But he's a traditional liberal talking about peace, harmony, tranquility. He used those words a lot in the Tucker interview. Anyway, check it out. Check it out, and it's a good interview from Tucker. What else? Here's an interesting story. Russian minister who was fired by Putin shoots himself dead, authorities say. Former transport minister Roman Starovoyt was at the helm as Ukrainian drone attacks crippled the aviation sector over the weekend. So the transport minister was fired by Putin, and then he self-deleted. Actually, there are reports from Russian lawmakers, or one Russian lawmaker, who actually claims that Starovoyt's self-deletion happened before the announcement that he was being sacked by Putin. And the claim is that Putin was sacking the transport minister because he wasn't doing a good job in connection with the drone attacks on Russian airports and infrastructure and stuff like that. That's the claim, but who knows what's going on. All right. Should we get to some clown world, perhaps? Let's do some clown worlds, and we'll wrap this video up. From Politico, Macron in 2032, French leader floats future in national politics after term ends. The French president is constitutionally barred from serving a third consecutive term, but could return in a later election. Man, we're never getting rid of Macron, man. Macron is with France forever. Forever, ever, forever, ever. Macron is going nowhere. So he can't serve a third term, okay? But he can run again after the next elections. After that term of the next elections, whoever wins those elections, then Macron can run again. And it looks like that's what he is going to do. I guess there's no position, no job available for Macron in one of the big globalist institutions. He's not going to become European Commissioner. He's not going to be in charge of the European Central Bank. Lagarde has got that one locked down. IMF, World Bank, United Nations. They say the United Nations is going to be taken over by Grossi. Yeah, that's who they say is going to take over. Secretary General for the United Nations is going to be Grossi. Just gets worse and worse, man. It just gets worse and worse at these institutions. So yeah, I guess there's no position for Macron once he's done being president of France, and he can't run again. So he's going to wait it out for a few years, and then he'll run again as president. Hooray, more Macron till 2032. Macron in 2032. In 2032, he will be, one second, he will be 54 years old. How old is his wife? How old will his wife be in 2032? He's going to be 54. He's a young guy, man. Yeah, he can absolutely run. He'll absolutely be able to run in 2032. God help us. From the Telegraph, the Russian potato shortage that shows Putin's economy is on the brink. Surging food prices and labor shortages are fueling inflation and making Moscow vulnerable. Dude, potato shortage. It's not good, man. That is not good. Oh man, it looks like Russia's done, man. Looks like regime change is finally happening at the Kremlin. There's a shortage of potatoes. They're using shovels. Washing machine chips. It's not looking good, dude. It is not looking good, bro. I don't know, man. Maybe Putin should just accept the Keith Kellogg 30-day freeze ceasefire terms. Maybe he should call up Trump and say, okay, President Trump, I'll agree to a ceasefire. I'm running low on potatoes, so I'll agree to a ceasefire. Then Trump will say that was the best phone call I've ever had with Putin. I'm very happy with the phone call from Putin. I'm not disappointed anymore. I'm happy now that he has accepted the 30-day ceasefire, Keith Kellogg capitulation plan. Potatoes. Who would have ever guessed that it would be potatoes that would bring down the Russian Federation, that would bring down the Putin government? Who would have ever guessed that it would be potatoes? Man, what a crazy world we live in, huh? Thank God we have publications like The Telegraph to report on these things, because I never would have seen this one, man. This was not on my radar at all. That's why The Telegraph is The Telegraph, and I'm just a guy walking around with a camera. You see the difference? Okay, one more clown world, and we'll wrap this video up. Check out this action figure, or an inaction figure of Pam Bondi. It's funny, man. This inaction figure of Pam Bondi. More Epstein no client list fallout. Pam Bondi, inaction figure. Fox News Media. It's on my desk, it says. Oh my God. This is doing the Trump administration so much damage. This no client list thing. It is really doing the Trump administration a lot of damage. Guns N' Roses with special guest Public Enemy on the 18th of July. That's a pretty good ticket, man. Guns N' Roses and Public Enemy. I love Public Enemy. I can't do nothing for you, man. Flavor Flav. Oh, man. If I was here, I would go to that show. I would go. That's a pretty good ticket. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. theduran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, and the Duran Shop. Duran Shop link is in the description box down below. Ton of music playing over there, so I'm not going to walk any further. I will see everybody tomorrow. Take care.